All right, guys, I'm here with another lesson on your thoughts and how that impacts your day-to-day activities, especially your communication with other folks. I'm trying to make this as general as possible so both men and women can utilize it. So I want to take an example that I have. So I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, and I read a lot of books and just other kind of podcasts and things like that always have to do with self-development. And I've been doing counseling for 20 something odd years. So, and I've worked with families and couples and alcohol and drug industry, and domestic violence. And so I've kind of been around the block. I've done a lot of things, and I'm in real estate. So, that's a whole nother thing. I've been divorced, had a kid. So, I just really want to just pour into you what I know that I think will be helpful for you. I just hope the AI algorithms help you out and help you find these videos. So, and remember, a lot of the data, a lot of the stuff I'm going to send you, or I'm going to be promoting or telling you about, I'm putting my own twist on things, so to say. So please keep that in mind. I will try to put the authors on here as I know them, as I say them, and think about them. So anyway, so let's get into this. So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was with Tony Robbins. And so one of the things he really talks about, the whole point of positivity, and what you're doing is, what you're thinking and what you're speaking out loud is what you get, right? And so there's another gentleman named Dr. John Deloney who also kind of emphasizes this, and he says, we talk in pictures, right? So we picture something, but we talk about it, we verbally talk about it, but we have a picture in our mind, right? And that goes back to the other videos I've done with this ABC model, where I showed you how your thoughts are influenced by your belief system, right? My expectations of myself and others, right? So, all right, so one of the things that I'd like to kind of recapture here about your thoughts, and something in particular, and is something that I learned, which are three types of thoughts. And these types of thoughts typically lead to anger. They typically lead to frustration. They can lead to depression. They can lead to you just continuing to dig a hole for yourself, one that you might not even can get out of, or you're going to need help getting out of. Well, to be honest, we all need help to get out of stuff, right? This video, I hope, is helping you get out of something, or helping you maybe even dig your way into something better, right? So it depends on how you look at it. See, words. All right, depends on how you picture it. All right, so less, loss, and never. And I tell you what, this has really hit home for me from Tony Robbins when he when I heard this. And so here's the thing. I want to use some examples. So less, loss, and never. So let's say, so when you're in a relationship and you are talking to someone, right? Or it doesn't have to be a relationship, but let's say I'm talking to my significant other, my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And anytime if they say something, and I start to think thoughts that are less, loss, and never, that is going to increase an emotion that I have, and obviously I'm going to have an increase in the behavior that's associated closely with this emotion and these thoughts, right? And usually, like I said, it's anger, depression, sadness, right? And there's a whole cake thing I can show you. I'll do that another day. Maybe I'll do it after this video, and then you'll have more videos, but I'll be in a black t-shirt, so don't judge. All right, it's hot in here today. So, so less, loss, and never. So let's say that your significant other says something like, I don't know, I'll come off the cuff of a lot of this stuff. So let's say that he or she says something along the lines of, we have to quit spending money because we're in a tough place. What they're really trying to tell you is they're scared, right? They're fearful of something, or that they want to see they want to protect something, right? Now, what I may perceive that is, oh, we don't have enough money. That means we're going to lose stuff. We're not going to be able to buy the stuff we want to. We're never going to get to this place in life, right? And so when my significant other says that, and I start thinking about that, that's going to put me down a rabbit hole, right? And so when I start doing that, what happens? My emotions go up. My behavior goes up. So maybe like, honey, what are you talking about? We don't have money to do what? What are you talking? No. And then what do we start having? We start having money fights, right? We start butting heads about money because we're in fight or flight mode. Remember fight and flight? Go in fight or flight mode. So we start butting heads about those particular things. And this can go with anything else. Let's say that let's talk about sex here for a second. Let's say that you and your significant other, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you're not having sex as much. Okay? What do you think one of the arguments is going to be about? Probably sex, right? And so here's the thing, I'm getting less of it. I might be losing that person. And I start thinking this never happens. But that's not necessarily true. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Remember, I'm speaking out loud what I'm picturing in my head. So here's what's happening is I get less of it, I get frustrated. So I start saying, oh man, I'm not having sex as much as I'd like to, or as much as we used to, so it's less. And when I start thinking less, I start thinking, you may, and depending on what's going on with you, again, internally speaking, remember all that stuff that I showed you down below is so if I get the idea that I'm getting less and it's creating anxiety in me, then guess what's happening? I'm going in fight or flight because I think maybe she's seeing someone else, maybe he's seeing someone else. Maybe I'm not doing enough around here. And so then we have, oh my gosh, what if I'm losing this person? What if the relationship's not working out? And those are all internal things. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what the other person's actually thinking. Again, remember what I said about changing your thought processes. Is it a possibility, right? Maybe it's a possibility you're in a new season of your relationship, right? Maybe there's a change and we haven't really been getting to know our partner enough at this point in time to where we're thinking these things and they aren't even true. They're just figments of our imagination. It's just things we're making up, right? Remember what I said, participate effectively, participate in what is. I'm not participating in what is when I'm doing that, right? I need to have a conversation with my significant other about how I'm feeling and what I'm doing. See, being vulnerable is going to help you get more of what you want than less of what you want. Maybe that should be the focus here. But for right now, I want to focus on the less, loss, and never, because whenever you think less, loss, or never, and I just gave you two examples, which obviously we can think of like a ton more, right? But even personally, if I'm thinking, or let's say you're single, right? You got a divorce, you're single, right? And maybe you're thinking less of yourself right now. Like, how could that happen to me? How come, am I just a bad person? I mean, how come I wasn't good enough for them to stay around? Less. I just lost somebody. Who am I? What's the, what, I just lost this person. Grieving, sadness, right? Never, I may never find somebody again. You feel me? Are you seeing what I'm saying here? What's that creating? Despair, guilt, shame, depression, sadness, anger, frustration. Because then what we turn some of that stuff into, we turn a lot of that stuff into, well, you know what? He and she was, you know what, and and then maybe you make some texts and some phone calls you shouldn't make, or you do some things, and then what's the outcome? The outcome is I'm not getting, I'm not in reality, right? I'm not in reality. So I'm not in reality. The relationship's over, right? In this particular example, right? And so you really got to kind of get best. And so the way we do this is we change this. So, hey, you know what? That didn't work out, but I have more time to myself now to develop me, right? Because when you're in a relationship, let's be honest, sometimes you forget to do that. Maybe I need to get more spiritual. It gives me more time to do that. Hey, you know what? I lost my relationship with God a long time ago, but now I get a chance to gain a relationship with God. Maybe now I get a chance to reignite some friendships that I used to have that I let fall to the side because I got too enmeshed into being with the other person instead of going by some of my own morals and values, right? Maybe you want to work out, and you quit working out. Well, guess what? I had more time to do that. Never. All right. Well, you know what? Instead of thinking never, there is someone out there for me. There is someone that meets some of my needs, that meets meets me where I'm at, right? So we got to get away from the never. And this is going to be a daily process. This is going to be a weekly process, a monthly process, sometimes years. I mean, guys, it just depends on how your body works, how your brain works, how your physiology works, right? And as far as going back to having a difficult conversation and what I'm perceiving over here from someone else in a relationship, when we're getting into an argument, is remembering that, hey, I got to remind myself, hey, this is not a saber-tooth tiger in the room. There is no less lost than never here unless I create it in my mind. This is look at it as an opportunity to get to know your partner. You look at it as an opportunity to grow. Look at it as an opportunity for more experiences to come that are good, right? Scan the environment for the positive, because when I'm in less lost than ever, I scan for the negative. And whenever we're scanning for the negative, that's causing the not so good emotion to go up. And instead, what we want to do is we want to take this out, right? And we want the positive emotions to go up, because that's what's going to happen. Right? When we're thinking less of the less lost than ever, we're thinking of more than enough. I am a victor, not a victim. I'm always going to have abundance. So these are things, when I start thinking this way, my positive emotions go up, my positive behaviors go up, and then I start communicating well with others, and I start seeing better outcomes in my life in general. So again, guys, if this is something you're going through, I hope this is helpful. This is just one thing that I can teach you today. I hope it helps. Hope it's helpful in your thought processes and evaluating that when you're with your significant other, friends, or just your communication in general. All right, guys, it's a pleasure being here with you. Take care.